Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. We gotta give it up for Nintendo for making this last generation as good and as expensive as it was across many gamers all over the world, because they've been able to fuck over a lot of our base statements in these last 7 years, convincing us that, all their first party titles like, 3D Mario World here is always worth full price and never a discount, because, they could just do that. Either way, history today was announced, and it was claimed that the Nintendo Switch console has surpassed the PlayStation 2, the classic and prestigious console, in overall lifetime sales, putting it right behind the Nintendo DS in all the top selling consoles in the United States, point blank period. And bullshit aside from what Nintendo has going on with their legal teams and all their really dumb decisions, I think that this is really sick for the Switch console to get this milestone, because I feel like this console has taken everything that's ever worked for Nintendo and just put it at its best possible version for a current gen hardware, at least for obviously like 2017, and it got me excited for Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be rumored to come out soon. Now, deep diving into all this, the news was first broke earlier today by Matt Piscatello over on Blue Sky, and this dude is a longtime video game analyst over at Circana, and he has probably one of the most badass descriptions on this freaking platform, saying, "I help you one of your favorite games greenlit." That's Aura. Anyways, like usual, he went on a thread rant, sharing all the newest facts for all the video game industry, latest details, like, what games are selling the most for this month, Black Ops 6 being the month's best-selling video game and shit. But down here where he gets the most levels, where he says, lifetime unit sales of the Nintendo Switch have now exceeded those of the PlayStation 2 in the United States market, with this 46.6 million units sold life to date, which now ranks second of all time. That's where we get this information from. Now, personally, my favorite Nintendo console is the Nintendo Switch, not because it's the newest one, but like I said earlier, because it just takes everything that's worked for the Nintendo consoles previously, like, the Wii's, a whole motion concept, and that whole, a generational pivot in gaming that, brought a lot of casual people into the whole genre. Obviously, the traditional console sense of gaming that Nintendo's been known for, being able to play your Switch in dock mode, the way that Nintendo first got their big break in gaming, well, at least in modern times, because 100 years ago they were a card company. Sometimes I forget that Nintendo had a chokehold on gaming since before gaming. They're old as shit. And then of course the convenience of being able to play handheld gaming with like the DS and whatnot, and that whole era that is still number one in all of console sales in the US at least. So I just think that Nintendo Switch is a really pivotal console in all of gaming. That's going to be remembered for its impact and just the culmination of everything that Nintendo stands for. We're going to pretend that these Nintendo Switch like consoles aren't on the screen right now because they're ruining my immersion talking about this shit, but I'm just glad that the new Nintendo Switch 2 is what it's looking like. It's going to be an upgraded version of the Switch, even though for some people it kind of feels like we're buying the same thing for a third or maybe fourth time if you bought this bullshit. But again, why fix something that doesn't need to be fixed? It's already in a pretty perfect state, well, at least in the sense that it can have improvements on an already built system. So that's going to be definitely something I'm looking forward to in 2025. But yeah, man, really cool news for Nintendo, and we're just going to wait and see what the future of Nintendo Switch sales, and hopefully if the Nintendo Switch 2 can someday top this sale. But we'll have to wait and see. Moving on, before I say anything else, I just want to let you guys know that I'm a wizard and that I try to see all perspectives of all sides of gaming. So I don't want to get caught up in any arguments on PC, of what GPU to choose, whether it's from Nvidia or AMD. But right now, Nvidia, they're kind of under fire because their Nvidia app that they launched in beta back in February of this year is causing a lot of trouble for gamers that obviously are tied to whatever decision that they decide to make with their graphics cards. And this app has the purpose of replacing all previous Nvidia management apps, for you to see how your GPU is performing, obviously download all your drivers for the latest games. It's obviously some really integral shit. So when I hear reports of people claiming that after the recent update of this Nvidia app finally releasing, going out of beta, and games like Black Myth Wukong having serious FPS dips, I'm getting scared as hell right now. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Now, the previous iteration of Nvidia's management app was called the GeForce Experience, which I opened it up today because I haven't upgraded to the Nvidia app yet, and the first thing they said was to upgrade to the Nvidia app, so they kind of strong-arm me into that shit. And once inside the app, the driver version that's causing a lot of players to have FPS dips that otherwise wouldn't is this latest version that came out on the 5th of December, version 566.36. And obviously here you can tweak the graphics settings of all your games, and what players have been trying to do is fix the issue here, but apparently that's not really fixing anything for most players, at least with this specific FPS issue. But what is the current remedy is to go into the settings, and then if you have game filters and photo mode on with the Nvidia overlay, apparently this is what's causing an FPS dip for a lot of players, and the fact that I guess they're adding this HDR overlay to make your photo modes look cool and shit. I don't know what specifically, I don't know, but apparently this photo mode overlay is the common culprit for the reason that players are seeing FPS loss, which basically they injected like the reshade application on steroids to all your games that players just don't know about. Now again, that's the common culprit, but from what I've seen, there's been players that still have like severe like gameplay issues with that feature turned off. So until I know for a fact that this freaking driver isn't gonna fuck up my game, like you all saw how freaking Stalker 2 that only called for a 1060 ran on this system. I'm not taking any chances on this fucking computer. I don't know what the hell's going on with Nvidia. Like after what Intel did, I don't trust any of these manufacturers at all right now, dude. So I'm sure Nvidia are gonna do what they can to fix this issue as swiftly as possible, and probably release another driver really soon. But until then, man, just I guess keep an eye out for any updates, for any fixes beyond what we already know right now if you're on Nvidia. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that right now. It sucks to see this, but fortunately it's not the worst thing that could happen. I mean, obviously losing FPS isn't good, but going a day without a blue screen is a blessing in my opinion. Moving on, back in 2009, the game studio Free Radical, it shuttered down, and they were known for making some really cool games at the time, like the fake ass PlayStation title of Haze, Time Splitters on the PlayStation, just some really cool stuff, but with an unfortunate ending. But recently a group called Free Radical 𝐂𝐷𝐿, they purchased the older builds of the games that got canceled under the studio before they shut it down, and they are trying to fix them up and mod them out to make them playable for free for players in the future. And earlier today they showcased a game that Free Radical was working on in 2008, which is the Star Wars Battlefront 3 game, which not the obviously later renditions of the Battlefront series like with EA and their freaking loot box hell that they put the game through, but the original Battlefront titles from the 2000s that were just classics for so many children like myself that grew up with Star Wars, at least the titles from that era, and just really love playing the fuck out of this title. Now in my low holding opinion, I feel like Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005 is probably one of the best Star Wars experiences that you can have, definitely in my top 5 Star Wars games ever, like right behind freaking Force Unleashed. But right here is the canceled Battlefront 3 gameplay showing off the cutting edge Wii graphics of the time period, and I just think that this looks really cool. Obviously, like you see here, using use of the Wii's motion controls to aim with the ship here and all that, so that's definitely really cool. The game definitely looks like something that I would have sunk in many hours into as a kid. I already sunk many hours playing freaking Battlefront on the PlayStation 2, so this being a sequel title on the Wii, which later in my life was a really huge part of what I spent doing as a child, dude, it would have just been over. Now, according to the Free Radical Design archive team, they said that the game still has a bunch of bugs and issues that they hope can be resolved through future modding and whatnot. So it's definitely going to be a while before they release this game to the public. But if you feel like supporting them, you can. They have a Ko-fi where you can donate whatever you feel like. I'm not sponsored by them. I just think that this project is really cool. So I have to shed light on that. But I'm really happy to see that people even taking the time to go and buy these old games that people obviously spend a lot of time and pour their heart into. They're just going to be lost to time. So at least in some way, shape, or form, people can reap the benefits of having their creative designs just enjoyed by someone, people that actually enjoy the Star Wars games back in the day. I'll definitely check this out if I can. I don't know how they're gonna release this, if they're gonna like have some sort of like download to where you have to put it on your Wii. I've never modded my Wii before, so I don't know how that shit works. So if I have to do that, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if they're gonna make it like a PC port. I don't know what's gonna happen. Either way, I still find this sick as fuck. So I'm definitely gonna check it out whenever I can. But you know, we'll have to wait and see what the future happens with the Star Wars Battlefront titles. Hopefully the next one doesn't have the bullshittery of, you know, EA's rendition of these titles, but you know, it likely will be. All right, it's the end of the year, so I guess you guys know what time it is. Every freaking video game platform on earth and every freaking service on earth is trying to copy Spotify and having these replays, which I'm not mad at. I think this is really cool to see, you know, how much time I spent not touching grass and just how much, you know, what I enjoy playing the most, because I might tell you guys something, but you know, the real details are going to be in the facts here. So let's check this out. Review your year on Steam. 29 games played, 117 achievements, 58% on mouse and keyboard, 42 with controller. Fallen Order, okay. Disney Dreamlight Valley, obviously, you know, I got a lot of comfort games, so, you know, Disney Dreamlight Valley is what I like to play when I'm watching a show and shit. Mandalorian, I did not expect to enjoy Mandalorian as much as I did. If you don't know, this is a strategy title, a city building game that just came out this year, and dude, if you haven't played it, play that shit, man. It's so good. How you compare games? Longest streak was 5 days. Damn. Okay. Now I gotta be honest with you guys. This is accurate as far as Steam goes, but a lot of like newer titles, they're not gonna get on here because I play those games through other means, and I'm on PC, so you can catch what I'm putting down on that. 42% of your playtime was with the controller. Longest streak during this time, you played 2 different games. Dragon Dog. This game, I did not like this game at all. For some reason, just it fell off. Something about the original Dragon Dog fell off. Battlefront 2, like I said, you know, I love that game. May, June, July, August. Okay, September, October, November, and December. All right. Thank you, The Last Wizard, for being part of the community in 2024. Thank you, Steve, for taking my money. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.